on in the world today? People fighting and looting, polluting. It's okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Going Over podcast. Paul, what episode we on here, pal?
This is 88.
88 episodes. It is I, your neighborhood-friendly coach, trainer, and promoter, 43-year-old professional wrestler. This is my birthday month, so the introduction in 19 days is about to change. Feel free to cash app $sign Zachary Reeb, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to get some steak, some fucking lobster, get that F-bomb out of the way early. Fuck. Reeb. Prime time, joined alongside my podcast partner, the 7-foot wrecking ball. Paul Isadora. Paul, welcome to the world of professional wrestling again.
Oh, well, thanks a lot. I appreciate you inviting me back in. I'm just getting ready for we're gonna have some training tonight in a couple hours here, so hopefully that goes well.
You know, my new gear came in.
Oh.
And I've been working on it for a long. Well, it didn't come in. Rick's going to be bringing it in this weekend. And I looked at it, and it's just so much different than anything I've ever wore before. And I'm pretty excited about it. Pretty excited about where everything's going. And most importantly, I've been talking to Spark on the phone. And I'm really excited about where this company is right now. And one last time, myself, my best buddy Rick Luxury, in a PCW ring at Off the Chain with Sparky Ballard, like so many times before in so many different companies, refereeing this contest. And we're coming off a long weekend. It's been a long road. I believe we said we had 8 weeks of this. And with this weekend coming up, we have 3 more weeks left. So we're over the halfway point, and we're over the biggest weekend and the biggest hump with the most stuff we had to do. And I'm going to tell you, Big Paul, just like McDonald's, I'm fucking loving it.
As you should be.
It's like raising a kid, right? They say, hey, you're probably not going to know what tired is until you have children. That's when you're going to know really what being tired is. And here I am going, man, I've got like 40 kids, you know what I mean? So, and these are adult kids too. So I know what tired is. Here we are. What is the last thing that we talked about? Where were we as far as last weekend went? Did we talk about, we talk about Limelight maybe?
We were talking about match placement is what we talked about on the last episode.
So we did recap.
Right. A recap of last weekend. I think you talked about the 3 shows that you had students on that you got to watch them in different match placements and things like that. So, it's just things just get away from us, I think, sometimes. Old Larry just sent me something that he found, or someone sent to him about the importance of referees, and and I'm reading through it, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I bet a lot of this stuff is stuff that we've talked about already, and especially when Sparky was on, just about what a referee is supposed to do, their job. How a lot of times, and Larry and I had this conversation just yesterday about how sometimes you just throw a shirt on someone and go, you can jump out there and be a ref, and how that happened to him, when he refereed his first match, and how upset you were.
Oh, me, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
you let Larry referee.
And he got knocked through the fucking rope by Boyce LeGrand, I believe it was, too. I remember, and it wasn't even like any type of refereeing. It's like he was in there with Boyce LeGrand for like 15 minutes, first referee job before he was even ready. And I was like, why the fuck did he ref? And as a matter of fact, I don't know why I wouldn't have been at that show.
I don't know.
That don't make no sense to me. I should have been there, but well, it's the most important thing, right? We always talk about it. You know, Spark just sent me a couple videos. One of them was my own show
Right.
from Last Limelight. And Sparky sent me 2 clips. One was from East Bay Pro. It was like a 30, 40-minute match between Andrew Cass and one of the other young kids. As a matter of fact, I believe somebody online, I was watching some of this because he told me to watch it like the 28-minute something marker. And when I turned it on, it was like these two were wrestling in an empty building. I mean, it was completely fucking quiet 28 fucking minutes into this contest. And I remember somebody online was saying it was every bit as good as Macho and Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 3. And, you know, I don't mean to name call, and I'm not going to call out any names on who said it. I might remember who said it, I might not, but it was probably one of the biggest, most idiotic dipshit statements I'd ever heard in my life. And no offense to anybody, right? No offense. Hey, respectfully, Macho, the Macho Man, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in front of 93,000 plus. And all you guys are going to go out there, well, with Tony Khan and AEW ran at in London and all in, all out, all up your ass, whatever it was. They broke it down. There was only like 70,000, 93,000 plus at the Pontiac Silverdome, Hulkamania, and the Giant, the big body slam, Primetime and Big Paul at the convention center, right? And they compared this Indy match that was, you could hear crickets. You could have dropped your Rehypnol pill out of your pocket and heard it bounce off the ground once and caught it off the ricochet. Compared Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and the Macho Man. The story that built up with Macho dropping the bell into his throat, Ricky was going to swallow his tongue. George the Animal Steel, Miss Elizabeth, 93,000 fucking plus. WrestleMania 3. Compared an indie match with crickets running across the pond in the country quiet to Steamboat and Macho Man. Hold on. I'm going to get to my point. I just want to reiterate this one more time. Somebody on my friends list who I do not talk to clearly, and maybe I've met one time, said that this indie match in front of 25 people that was quiet as shit was just as good as Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and the Macho Man Randy Savage blow off 93,000 at WrestleMania 3 with the Intercontinental title change. Said that, Paul. And I'll leave it at that. But what happened was it was the 28-something, almost 30-minute marker. And the kid goes for the Rana. And it looks like he just did like a mid-shift backflip and landed on his feet. And the guy stayed on the turnbuckle. And the guy almost did like a blockbuster that looked like one of the Tequila Sunrise fucking Canadian Destroyer, whatever stupid move that they're doing nowadays, stupid move. And the ref, I'm glad you said this, because the ref was wearing a pair of jeans and looked like he'd never ref before in his life. And he gets down there and he goes, 1, 2, stops, checks under the arm, sits back up. The kid covering, because it was his big title win, goes like, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, oh yeah. And he gets down there, 1, 2, and 3 again. And the kid throws the other kid's legs violently down. And I don't think he meant to do it to be a dick to the other guy, kid, whatever. But this is your 30-minute Macho Ricky fucking Romania 3 match comparison. And the ref fucked up your finish? How is it Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man if the referee didn't count to 3 for the finish? Absolutely ludicrous. I almost cannot stand, whether they're in the business or not, seeing some of these marks, Mezarks online, polluting the NorCal business. I don't care what you do, man. I don't care about your opinion. You can have it. It's yours. Don't make that comparison, please. Nobody believes that comparison when you make it. I didn't even check back to see if somebody commented on it. And then he showed me my match, and one of our referees, one of our younger referees, Christian Sky, came in, made the tag to Brandon Nash, and he's stepping on maybe it's Bucker Bay, he's stepping on their throat. And instead of like the tag is legal, he's now not the legal man and saying, get out of the ring, get off his throat. The kid drops down and starts to count the fall. And the heels are looking at him going, what are you doing, dude? Like,
so this is the non-legal guy?
Yeah, because the legal guy that tagged out is now stepping on the baby face, taking the heat's throat. The new guy coming in, either way, you shouldn't count a 3. There's 2 guys in the ring and one guy stepping on his throat. So
right.
We're seeing a lot of it, man. We're seeing a lot of negligence, and I'm glad we got the villainous El Sparko. The villainous El Sparko out there watching wrestling now. Ladies and gentlemen, Zack Reeb has unleashed the beast. We have opened the gates and let out the fucking Kraken. Sparky Ballard is back, and he's going to be all over your fucking areas, and he's going to be telling you what he thinks in the locker rooms. And I think it's a beautiful thing, man, because nobody's worked harder in this business. Renting rings, driving rings, Cauliflower Alley, all over, you name them. Nobody has put more work into the business than that man, Sparky Ballard, man. So, that was pointed out. So you mentioned the referee thing and Larry, and it's something we always talk about. It's so important.
Right. I guess something else now that you've been talking about things that frustrated you. I had a question about when you decide at some point that you have wrestled your last match and you're going to hang it up and you're going to quote unquote retire. What is that going to look like as far as the end of the match? Like, are you planning on leaving your boots in the ring? Are you making a speech? Are you announcing it in advance? Things like that. The reason that I asked is because I feel like it was this last weekend that there was somebody retired in Northern California. And it was, I don't know. I guess it's someone that I've never seen wrestle live, so I don't know too much about it. We've watched a ton of matches featuring this guy, and lots and lots of critiques we've had between the two of us. So I was just curious because obviously I've thought about that. I was just healing up from a car accident, and so just trying to figure out when the time is finished for me, like what that's going to look like. Is it going to be some big celebration, some song and dance? Do you feel like you're going to wrap it into some sort of storyline? Like, I always thought like it would be cool if it was going to be, if you were going to have your last match, if it was a loser leaves town or a retirement match or something along those lines, that you could potentially put some sort of swerve on it. So what do you think for you? What is it going to look like?
Well, you said it right there. Storyline. If you're running them, if you're interested in those type of things, 100%. Because like, what are we retiring from? You know what I mean? Like, my in-ring career, maybe for 4 or 5 years going around, produced my living. So I've made a living in money off of my training school, running shows, stuff like that. So that's what I would retire from. So if I retired in the ring, it would be because it was part of an angle, trying to get a young wrestler over, or something I thought was going to draw some tickets. I would not retire if that was, I like, really, I want it. Like, if it was not part of an angle or something we were doing, definitely not, because what are you retiring from? You have to have a career, like you have to make money. John Cena's retiring. You know what I mean? Edge hurt his neck, he retired. Like, and a lot of that stuff they're doing too, they're doing it on they're stars making a lot of money and making the company a lot of money, and they're doing it on national television. So to do it at this level, and we say that all the time. I tried to tell someone that the other day. I said, I was like taking the curtains down at the show, and I said, if you think I think that this is a different level, like if you think I think this is, I know what I'm trying to get this to, and it's getting bigger every time. We're past a rebuilding a stage of this, and it's making some money right now. But if you think I think that this is bigger than this stuff out here, you got me fucked up, because I know what this is. I know where we're trying to go with this. You know what I mean? And I believe wholeheartedly, like I was talking about the Steamboat Macho thing. I believe some of these guys, they get in the business, and there's a lot of wrestling companies. So, and there's nothing wrong with having a hobby. Nothing at all. Nothing wrong with putting on a show and having some fun, buying spandex, doing stuff like that. They do it for Halloween. This is no knock. I'm being serious. It sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but I mean, if that's what you choose to do, I don't know who retired, but I've seen a lot of retirements going on in my 26 years. And I've always thought the same thing. Like, cool, dude. Just say you're quitting. You know what I mean? I'm quitting. I'm going home to the family. This has been fun. It didn't really happen for me, so I'm hanging it up. I'm taking the old boots off. And if that makes you feel better, I've seen a lot of retirements here in the last year or two locally, where the guy came back to wrestle.
Of course. Well, and I think that's what it is. A lot of times that's what it is. You hear the phrase "never say never." Well, I'm never going to wrestle again, but it's like then the person's coming back. So, but I don't know, and I think you're kind of hitting on an important point. It's like you have to understand the actual level that you're at. If you're retiring from the business and you're making some sort of showcase about it and leaving your boots in the ring and doing all these different things, it's like you obviously think that were really good, and somehow, somewhere, this is going to affect the betterment of the business. Like, oh, you're losing out on someone who's drawing money or something along the lines of that, where it's like, if that's not the case, then what are you doing? Like, I think about one of the, your favorite wrestler, definitely one of my favorite wrestlers, Adam Thornstowe, just kind of stopped doing it, just,
Yeah. That's how it's done.
There's no fucking song and dance. There's no retirement tour. Like, I've definitely, not to say that, the John Cena thing isn't a worthwhile cause. I think it's kind of cool to kind of have a heads up and go, hey, this is the last time I might see him in my town. So getting a heads up for fans, I think, is awesome. But when it's on a small scale and it's like, you're wrestling in a few towns that are all really close by, it's not like, oh shit, this is the last time I'm going to see this guy wrestle in Oroville, or this is the last time, oh, I better catch this guy in Yuba City. Otherwise, I won't have a chance. It's like,
Pro Wrestling Illustrated, get out here, cover
right,
this.
right. Let's do a story on this.
Yeah, we need a story on this because it's such a big fucking deal, right? You were talking about like did Hulk Hogan ever retire?
Right. Yeah, I don't
Like,
think
no,
so.
seriously, I'm trying to think about that. I can't
Right.
remember like Hogan ever hanging him up. He was like, I'm still gonna come out here and pose and do all that. So I mean, I think he thought he was still doing it. And that's the thing is, I used to think that I used to think that like, why are we putting people into the NorCal Hall of Fame and then they're still wrestling? I think Ugly went in and he was still wrestling. Boyce went in and he was still wrestling. And I always thought like, well, why put them in if they're still wrestling? I think Samurai went in, he's still wrestling. And it's like I liked with the Hall of Fame how it was such a big deal, right, to everybody, and it was an event, and then it just stopped. It stopped the year that I took over, like the year before that I took over and ran that one Young Lions Cup. So it was like the Young Lions Cup stopped, the NorCal Hall of Fame stopped, and now you look back at it and you go, well, how important was this if you guys could just quit? You just quit
Right.
doing it. Let's make a big deal about the Hall of Fame in Northern California. And then how long has it been now? What, like 3 or 4 years?
Right.
It just fucking stopped. I think Rayshawn Prince was the last Young Lions Cup winner, like what should have been 3 Young Lions Cups ago. And people just gave up on it, like Sparky, Marcus Mack, and then Sparky carried that Young Lions Cup along for so long. And then it was like I ran it. And that's a loser, man, that Young Lions Cup. No offense, but you're buying fucking 20, 30 t-shirts for the host and the wrestlers and the refs and the staff. So you're already in the hole with t-shirts, you know. You're not paying guys, but you're bringing guys from all over. It becomes this real political battle. I didn't like the way it was set up. I always thought King of Indies, 16-man tournament over a couple days. All the first round matches are one night, then 4 quarters, 2 semis, and the finals the next night, 8 and 7. I thought that would have been a cool thing because then you start breaking it down into tags. But for one night, that's how they had to break it down. But I just wasn't really a fan of the Young Lions Cup. I like going to the Hall of Fame, but if you can just stop doing something, does it really mean anything? You know what I mean? So it only means as much as we want it to mean until we don't have the time to do it anymore, right? Like
Right.
that's what's going on here. People are always like, we're going to induct you into the NorCal Hall of Fame, or even the mention of it. I'm like, don't induct me. I got to
Right.
stop doing this first before you can think about inducting me. I'm not going to go into something if I'm still going to be doing this. And I don't plan to stop doing this, man. If I can still walk out there once a year and put on something worth putting on, I ain't retiring from shit.
Absolutely. So, and I don't know. So that was kind of the thing. It's like, making a big deal of it, and then I'm thinking like, I don't know. And I thought about that in the past, right? Obviously, my opinion of my work rate is not as high as other people's opinion of my work rate. But so that was just one of the things, like, obviously I've heard, different people say, that, I'm the best big guy that's been in this area, for as long as we can remember. And so I would always think like, oh, well, what would happen, if I was to go into the Hall of Fame, who would induct me and things like that. And, but I'm definitely of the same opinion of you. It's like, well, that doesn't happen until you're done, which kind of leads to the retirement thing. It's like, how do you how do you go about doing that? I think everyone wants to. You want to stop wrestling on your own terms. You don't want to be, um, you know, a parody of yourself. For as you hear so many people say, you don't want to be the, you know, I'm still doing it, but I'm not doing it at a very high level. But I'm just a hang arounder. So you definitely don't want to be that. So at some point you'd hang it up, but I just don't know what the process would be about doing that. Do you make a big deal of it? I think I'm on the same page as you as far as it's going to be a storyline. It's going to be something that's going to be the reason. You know, I always think it was cool when you had the the hair match, or the loser loses their mask, or uh, some sort of stipulation that gets a guy out of a territory or makes a guy retire, or whatever it is. So I always like those things where it was like, I'm the next match I lose is going to be my last match type of thing.
Yeah. Well, like Samurai, he had that where he almost died, and
Right.
Eliza Hammer saved his life. That was, that made the news. That was a great story. And what a bond those two have, right? Oh, excuse me. What a bond those two have. But the way he retired, it's like fuck, he didn't want to stop wrestling.
Right.
He had no intention. I believe he was in the NorCal Hall of Fame, but he had no intention of stopping wrestling. And I messaged him because, I talked to Josh, like we would go to Cauliflower Alley, or when I'd see him in a WCWF show or something. Like we always talk and get along. I think he's hilarious. I think he would be. I always tell him you should actually do stand-up comedy because you're fucking funny. But he didn't want to retire. So when he walked out at SPW and put his boots in the ring and everyone clapped for him, that's okay. That's a good tribute to somebody, because man, that was so tragic and unfortunate what happened to him, and he didn't want to hang him up. He likes to run, man. He likes to do those marathons, and the swimming, the swimming and the biking and the running, and he always was like his job. He went. He wasn't even able to go to his job. He almost wasn't able to go back to his job that he had worked at all these years. Just he worked that job because it was an easy job that he knew he could get his time off to wrestle and work on SPW. And like I always said, man, you gotta respect somebody like that. Put in all that time, and then he's forced to stop doing something that he had no intention. Samurai had no intention of stopping, and that hurt me right here, because you get around all these guys, and when you find the ones that are very passionate about what they do, you start to create a bond with them over all these years, decades, because of how passionate he is. So I think in that sense, I don't change my mind a little bit, but I think in that sense, when something happens to someone like Samurai, and he decides to, man, this just happened. I almost bit the big one. I can't wrestle no more. So I'm coming out this next show and I'm leaving the boots in the ring and I'm walking away. Yeah, because SPW is his baby. You know what I mean? So, in that sense, the way it happened and went down, that's a retirement right there, leaving the boots in the ring. That's not part of an angle that I'm 100% behind. You know what I mean? He does deserve a standing ovation from the Sacramento Elk Grove audience, because when Colonial Theater all those years, the Catholic Church, and now the soccer arena down there in Elk Grove, and he is SPW. You know what I mean? But as far as like being at a festival, or working somewhere where there's nobody around, or you're just retiring and giving stuff away to fans and stuff like that. No, I wouldn't do that. You don't need to document that. You can, but what's the contribution to the retirement? Just I'm quitting. I'm quitting. This has been fun. I'm glad I have some fans that like it, do whatever you want to do, to be honest. But I'm just saying, like, retiring from something would mean that you were making a living doing it, so
Right.
you're just
Yeah,
quitting.
just the way that you're kind of putting it is, it makes me think about, like, yeah, I'm hanging up the bowling shoes. I'm gonna put the bowling bag out to pasture. Not not gonna pick pick up the balls anymore. Roll them down the alley. So I don't know. I think
Wouldn't that be funny though?
that would be funny. Now that you're talking about it as
Like at the
the
local
way that
bowling alley.
the way that it is, it's the hobby. It's like, yeah, not gonna be doing pro wrestling on the weekends anymore.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine going into do some cosmic bowling on a Saturday night and some guy walks in and he takes his shirt off and he hangs it over the scoreboard or whatever it is, right there, and he takes the shoes off and sets them where the ball comes floating up, and he holds his ball up in the air and he sets in and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's over. I am officially retiring after 10 years here at the local fucking bowling league on Sunday mornings." And everyone goes, and they say, "You deserve it." And then he gives, and then some fucking guy walks up and goes, "Hey, can I have your stinky ass fucking bowling shoes that you've been spraying Lysol in for the last fucking 10 years? Hey, that sweaty shirt that has fucking yellow armpit sweat stains, can I plaque that and put it on my wall? I have to get my hands on your fucking bowling ball." My softball bat. Last year, I crushed 22 co-ed softball home runs. This bat will never be used in the game again, but I bequeath you, young fan, and we're gonna plaque the bat, and you can do whatever the fuck you want. Fucking jerk off all over the fucking what a barrel. What a barrel I got right here. I mean, if you think about some of this stuff, it is pretty fucking ridiculous, right? Almost as ridiculous as I saw said wrestler versus said wrestler, and it was it was better than Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart in Montreal at the screw job. And the only reason it was better was because they did the screw job. If Bret and Shawn could have gone the extra 10 they were supposed to go with the back and forth and the falsies, then it wouldn't have been better. But it was better. It was better than an iconic fucking moment. It's like, guys, no, it's not. Like that pissed me off so bad. Not even like mad, like I lost sleep over that comment. But it's just like, I almost want to put all 30 minutes of that matchup, not to disrespect the wrestlers, because trust me, I didn't watch any of the match up until the point that I was stop it here and watch. But I almost want to like put that matchup and then in the same corner put Randy Savage and Ricky from WrestleMania 3 and see what type of live interactiveness we can get. Do our first actual live podcast and be like, all right, here we go. Here, we're going to start this match, and we're going to start this match at the same time, and action. Let's see which one's better. I'm sure the two grown adults making a handsome, probably like 50, 60 grand, especially in bonuses back in fucking 1988 or something like that. Maybe one of the greatest baby faces of all time, and definitely one of the top 10 of all time in the Macho Man Randy Savage, and snap it to a fucking Slim Jim. Bonesaw, baby, for the new kids. Yeah, I mean, let's not make that comparison right there. I've never had a match with Rick or anybody and went back into the locker room and been like, you know what? Tell you right now, fuck Angle Benoit, fuck Eddie Ray, fuck Austin and Brett at fucking WrestleMania. We killed that tonight. We were way better than them. Now, maybe when I was young, I was like, oh, God, I took a way bigger bump than Austin and Rock and Houston at WrestleMania. But I'm just a dumb mark for saying that back in the day because those guys made millions of dollars doing nothing. Main event in front of 80,000. So, no, definitely not. Definitely not.
It just makes you question the, I don't know if you've heard the saying about like lower your standards, up your odds. That's what I'm wondering. It's like what type of standards do you have if that's the comment that you're going to make about a match, that it was better than a match that most people would put on their their top 10 of best matches ever, that you're going to say this match was better than that, right? It's like, if you're wrestling at an independent wrestling show in front of less than 100 people, you're probably not having that great of a match, right? You figure if you're that good to have that type of high caliber match, you'd probably be doing this as a job. So that's what kind of makes me wonder about those things. It's like, like what are you watching? What do you think is good? Things like that. That's what so many times I would be like, you're going to these shitty promotions, but well, what would happen if you went to a really good independent wrestling show? How blown away would you be at that, at that show? If you think these bad wrestling shows are really good, that's what makes me wonder.
That's what I said. I said, if you think that I think that what I'm doing over here, I believe it's on this major scale right now, then you don't really fucking know me. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know what I'm really trying to do over here, if you don't know what Big Ugly's trying to do over there, if you don't know what you're trying to do over there, if you don't know what's going on and you think this is bigger, then like we know what it is. We're trying to help. That's why we're doing this. We're trying to help. But there is, you said that. You said if you're wrestling on an indie show, you're probably not, somewhere else, But here's the thing there. But that's not true for this reason. And here's the one reason. I watched Adam Thornstone and Jeff Cobb at SPW in front of like 100 people. And I think they did 3 of them, but I was there for one, and it was a work of art, man. It was beautiful. It was great. And it was one of my favorite matches I've watched live, especially on the, locally in the indies. And I mean live, like watching on tape too, but live watching it. And I went up to both guys afterwards. And I was like, fuck, that was great. But Adam was wrestling other places and all over. He was in TNA. And Jeff Cobb went on to New Japan and AEW and WWE now. So there is a time where you can see good indie talent with having great matches. And then the next thing you'll know maybe the next day or the next year, these guys are on the map to go somewhere bigger, or they're currently working for a bigger promotion. And, not to take anything away from Steamboat Macho 2 that I was watching online, not to take anything away from those kids, because I thought both those kids, I think they're both good athletes. Put on some size, definitely put on some size. And we can't even really tell people that anymore. That's the shit part about wrestling, right? You can't really go, hey man, you gotta pack on about, we were talking before about how you came in and they were like lose some weight, then they were like gain some weight. You can't really tell these kids that anymore because, what's his name? Cornette calls him pockets. Orange Cassidy. He's tiny. You know what I mean? I saw Dragon Lee. So I know AJ Styles is like 5'9", 5'10", right? And he's standing in the ring on Raw with Dragon Lee, and he's dwarfing him, not just in height. The Dragon Lee's got his shirt off, and he's good little like cardiovascular condition body, but Styles is over here just fucking laps out, bulging chest and every muscle, his abs are just fucking pushing out. And here's this guy, he's got a good little athletic physique, but Styles is fucking like dwarfing him in height, and he's only 5'10", and Styles is probably 215, maybe 220 pumped up right now. And so what's this guy? He's definitely under 200 pounds. So you can't tell these guys nowadays to, it's like I said about these kids. I'm like, yeah, put some weight on, get a little tan, and slow things down, work on that promo. You got a shot, man, at the business. But you can't tell them that anymore because nowadays it's like, what it reminds me of, and I said it the other day. Have you seen that game online called, they show it on TV now, it's like a competition, and they got the jungle gym and the bars and everything, and it's a setup, and they're playing tag. It's grown-ups playing tag. Fuck, that shit is impressive, dude. Watching those guys jump and cut through, and you think he's going to, and then this guy swerves the other way. That's what wrestling nowadays reminds me of. So when I see other indie guys locally trying to do what the best tag players in the world can do, and they're not playing tag as good as these guys are playing tag, I go, there's Ricochet, there's Will Ospreay, there's Kenny Omega, Young Bucks. There's the guys that do it, so well, the originators of it, and they're so good at it that if you can't do it better than them, then you're going to have to find something else to make you stand out, because you're not the level you're at right now on the independent wrestling scene. If it was better than those guys are close to, you'd already be signed with Tony Khan. You'd be the 299th wrestler signed to a contract at AEW, which I don't, I don't like to talk about a lot of that stuff too much, but good Lord, man, I feel bad. I feel bad for my boy downtown Chauncey Brown, aka Powerhouse Hobbs. He's over here with fucking Samoa Joe. How do you have Samoa Joe on your program and he's not out here getting these young guys? Like, that dude is amazing. You know what I mean? And I go back to saying, like, do I think Daniel Bryan's one of the best? And I go, I think he's great, but he really fucking hurts people in the ring, and not purposely, like maliciously trying to hurt him. He actually goes in the ring and like they really hit each other and smack each other and kick each other in the face and shit. And it's like, bro, this is pro wrestling, dude. If you're going out there and risking permanent paralysis or permanent fucking injury or concussion willingly because you want us to believe that the hits are real, that's stupid. It's fucking stupid.
Well, as you're talking about, the I don't know, like, basically just saying the Adam and Jeff thing, right? It's the I don't know what is the saying that I'm thinking of, but it's just like when back in the day where you would say those things about got to get bigger or whatever, got to hit the gym, you can't be a big fat guy, right? And everybody would always come back and be like, well, King Kong Bundy was a big fat guy. It's like, yeah, but that's the one guy, that's the big fat guy. you can't have 25 of that body style. Just like these little high flyer guys that are, 150, 160 pounds, you can't have a show full of that, right? Because then everyone looks the same. So you say like, oh, put some size on. It's like, oh, well, what about Marco Stunt, or whatever example you want to use that is one I don't know, like just one example of something that can be done because somebody's really good at it. It's like, well, just because King Kong Bundy was a big fat guy, or Earthquake or Typhoon, or all these different guys, like, yeah, you can have that within the promotion. You can have the Big Van Vader or Kamala type character, but you also have to have the big muscled up guys. You have to have the guys that look like pro wrestlers, look like they can beat you up, to make things look realistic, right? And then you can have the small guy that sneaks in a win, the 1-2-3 kid example. You can have that every once in a while, but you're not going to have the little guy beat Razor Ramon every time they wrestle.
But he was over 6 foot tall.
Right.
Razor's 6'7". You know what I mean? Like what they thought was small and underdog back in the day. X-Pac, 1-2-3 kid, 6-Pac, Lightning Kid, whatever the fuck you want to call him now, Sean Waltman. If he walked into the Indies now at his size, he'd be the fucking heavyweight champion. The heavyweight champion.
Right.
That's the problem, man. That's the problem is those guys you just mentioned, King Kong Bundy, one man gang, fucking, who's the other one? Kamala.
Yeah. Earthquake, Typhoon.
They could work.
That's the exception to the rule. So.
They were professionally trained wrestlers, workers that could work. They knew what they were doing. They could draw money places. They were big guys. They looked like grown-ass men. They, different than the audience. And that's the problem nowadays is what people think work is. They think work is fucking going through tables and furniture. They think it's lighting people on fire. That's been going on for a long time. Thumbtacks, barbed wire. We always got to have a table. I hate that WWE always has to use the Spanish announce table. I think Brett was the first guy that went through it when he got power bombed, right? By Diesel, or Diesel shoved him off the apron and in your house through the table. It was a surprise. It used to be a surprise. Like that's what I try to do with the tables. I try to have them set up for where the bell ringer is, and oh shit, we went through the table. Nobody expected it. It should be a surprise, and going through the table should eliminate you. If you go through the fucking table and get back up, what the fuck's the point of the table?
Right.
What's the point of the apron bump? The apron bump should require them to come out, and that should put you on the stretcher. You know what I mean? That should be the injury angle. He fucking drove him on the fucking apron, man. On the fucking skirt. He's done. We pull up the padding and fucking DDT him or fucking pile drive him there. And they go, that was back then. You don't have to do that now. Jake Roberts was 6'7". When Jake picked you up and fucking drove you down with that fucking DDT, game over.
Right.
Now it becomes a thing where we got to do so many variations of it. Well, why? Why do we got to do so many variations of it? The RKO can still beat somebody, right?
Right.
That still beats somebody. But the DDT can't because it's too plain. And then the RKO, the stunner is the fucking DDT. What the Canadian people just do the Canadian. I tell everybody, I'm like, man, I took the Canadian Destroyer from the guy who created the Canadian Destroyer in the Bakersfield Dome when that thing first came out. I took it from the originator. Because I always have people go, how do you take a Canadian destroyer? Just watch. You ever taken a pile driver? All you're doing is just jumping into a pile driver. You're not even really doing a backflip. Just fucking ride it out, man. If you're dumb enough to not know how to take a pile driver and rock your body that way to take that move, well, I hope you break your neck. I really do. And we can make a montage video of like some really cool, I'm bad to the bone, and just guys just getting their fucking necks snapped because they saw somebody do a Canadian destroyer or a tequila sunrise, and then they decided that they were going to do it in their fucking match, man. And it's like, no, man, just learn how to work. Learn how to work first. Because longevity, like how many guys are injured right now in AEW? Like a shit ton. A shit ton of guys are injured. We talked about it the other week, and then they're like, we got to do an injury angle with everybody. No, you don't. Just say they're off TV. Say, be honest. Their style is reckless. The risk of them being injured is greater than the other guy. And it's going to be that way. We don't have anything left to do, guys. There's so much wrestling, not just streamed across TV. There's so much wrestling locally, every fucking state, everywhere you go. We've seen all the moves. What are you going to do next? Fucking give us a story. Surprise us, man. Have somebody get hurt. Cart them off. Do something. Please, I'm begging you. Begging you to do anything but another Canadian destroyer. If I got to see one of those again, I might just... see you guys next episode, but God willing, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, hopefully there's going to be some storytelling this weekend. That's what we can hope for.
Oh, there will be storytelling.
Oh, there will definitely be some stories being told. Oh,
a lot of it, man. Yeah, it's one of those things. We sit here a lot, and we have so hyper focused on trying to help people with tag wrestling, refereeing, manager, singles wrestling, scenarios, stories, everything. We just and we don't get too many comments about it, and I don't see too many changes being made. And some guys are out there, I hear that they're listening, and I'm watching those people actually get better off of stuff like this. But it's like, man, you know what? Here I go. You want something to watch? I'll give you something to watch. I'll give you something that 93,000 plus in the Pontiac Silverdome would watch. You want to watch something over that? I'll give you something better than that. Right here in this fucking in my backyard right here. I'm gonna go buy a low boy from Monsters Inc. or Monster Factory. I'm gonna set it right up here in my backyard. Hold on, guys. No, I don't want to open it up because it'll be too bright. Let me show you my backyard. I can probably put a little 12, 14 footer back there. I'm gonna get a hold of Billy and get me a couple little people. We're gonna be doing shows here in my backyard every Tuesday night. We're gonna call it the Tuesday Night Recovery. Come to my house. We're gonna pile 50 people back here. I'm gonna go store. I am gonna get sugar-free Pepsis. Maybe might go Shasta Cola on your ass. And then I'm going to buy little bags of chips, and I'm gonna fucking overprice them out here. And you can't come through my house, but you can come through the side gate over here. And we are going to give you one hell of a show. As a matter of fact, Paul, I got my first match booked, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, but I got a feeling it's going to be close to Hogan Rock in Toronto. Very comparable. Being
That's what we're
serious.
hoping for.
5 minutes remain in this podcast.
Just 5 minutes left. That's it.
I'm actually going to go watch that 30-minute match, and I'm going to see if anybody does a correct collar and elbow pro drag. And if they don't do a correct collar and elbow, Ricky Steamboat, it's just a pro arm drag from the pump stop, hooking the collar right here, like you would a lock up. And they called the most simple maneuver the Ricky Steamboat arm drag. Can you do the Ricky Steamboat arm drag? Oh, you mean the basic pro drag that we're supposed to teach everybody? There's the shoot drag and the pro drag. And if I don't see one Ricky Steamboat pro drag in that match, I'm going to have to say maybe it was close, but couldn't happen. I'm going to turn the sound off. I couldn't believe what I read. Who cares, right? Like no one. I baffled.
I was going to say nothing is sacred at that point. If you're going to compare a Northern California independent wrestling match to one of the greatest matches ever, then nothing is sacred, right? You can say, "Oh, this guy's better than the best wrestler you can think of." This is easily the Bret Hart of our generation.
I don't know. A moment of silence.
That's right. It's like I'm at a loss for words with just that comment.
But I see a lot of dumb comments,
Right.
And people say, it's my social media. You're right. It is your social media. But here's the thing. Who gives a shit? Because it don't mean you're using it. It don't mean you're doing it right. I'm not saying I got the greatest following of all time on social media. Still trying to figure that shit out. But it don't mean you're using it right. You could grab a baseball bat, and hold it like this. Don't mean you're using it right. You could take the same baseball bat and just squirt lube all over the handle and shove it up your ass. That don't mean you're using it right. You know what I mean?
Very true.
Don't mean you're using it right.
Right, exactly.
And they ain't using this thing right. Sorry about their luck. Sometimes I wish this thing would just shut the fuck up. I got fucking messages coming through all day. Sometimes I just got one where there were 4 fucking voice clips. I'm like, I haven't even looked at one. Why'd you send me fucking 4? Why didn't you just call me?
Right.
I wonder what. Call me, dude. Right here.
That's right. You're like, hit me on the hip, bruh. Hit me on the mobile.
I'll answer the phone. Quit texting me. Quit sending me shit through Instagram and just call me. You have my fucking number. I'll answer that. Hello. Oh, you want to talk to me about something? Okay, let's go. I'm here. You want me to read through all this fucking shit and go find your shit? I'm fuck newspapers because I have social media. All I got to do is sit down and I can listen to you whine and cry about your fucking eating, how expensive Denny's was. Denny's was so expensive tonight. I got an idea. Paul, I'm coming to Urington, and we're gonna have the greatest tag team wrestling match of all time. And not in the RWF. I mean, this is gonna be the best of all time. I'll go pick one. Let's compare it. You got anything else? Big weekend coming up. What's the deal with you, Paul?
Oh, no big deal with me, man. This is your show this weekend, and I'm just gonna be there doing some commentating.
Hit that subscribe button. Come on. Fuck. Shit. Poop.
That's it.
Ricky, the Dragon Steamboat, and the Macho Man for Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and the Macho Man Randy Savage. We're out of here. We're going over WrestleMania 3, 93,000 plus.